All right. So welcome everybody, whether you're live or going to look at this at another point in time. We looked last week at a couple of different things, prefixes and suffixes, to really basically build your own, build your vocabulary. We also looked at Greek and Latin roots, which we're going to continue to look at really quick. I will have Brittany. People are just popping in real quick. Brittany Starr. All right. So again, we will be looking at the Greek and Latin roots, as well as this will be the most fun that you have all week, I think. We'll look at the 3 branches of government and their checks and balances. Super blast, I know. We'll try to make fun, not make fun of it, but make the best of it and have some fun with it. So let's look real quick. I'm gonna show you a quick little recap of Greek and Latin roots, and then we're gonna do a couple of practice, and then about halfway through the class, we'll move on to that passage that I assigned you earlier today, but you kind of get ahead of the game because you'll be able to go in, we'll read it together, and you'll be able to get that information at another point in time. So I'm going to share screen really quickly. UCLA, bingo. All right, so we want to be here. Let me close this up. And everybody is seeing what I'm seeing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. Everything is working really fast. I love it. All right, so let's look real quick. I want to look at this Khan Academy. Okay, 6 minutes. Really just a recap of Greek and Latin
Hello,
roots.
readers. Today I want to talk about vocabulary.
Let me stop that real quick.
How many English.
All right, I have, who just popped in? Mandy? Mandy. And, all right, there you guys go.
Words have Greek or Latin roots embedded in them, and how you can use that to your advantage. The story of why English has Greek and Latin in it at all is super fascinating to me, and if I allowed myself, I'd go off on a big old tangent about it, but let's save that for another time. Suffice it to say that English has Latin and Greek chunks in it for fun history reasons, and let's just leave it at that for now. I'm not going to say that you need to be able to speak modern Greek or read ancient Latin in order to understand English, but many complicated words are made up of little language building blocks that we can break apart using the power of understanding.
He's excited.
I'm going to introduce some vocabulary about vocabulary now, so brace yourselves. There's this idea of a root word. Take the word dent, which is Latin for tooth. From that root word, we can get the adjective dental, which means about teeth, or the noun dentist, which means a person who specializes in teeth, or the noun dentures, which are false teeth. That's what a root is. Now, you can also combine roots to make words. The word foot is Greek for light. The root graph comes from the Greek for writing. You put those together, you get photograph, or writing with light. It's kind of poetic, isn't it? To this understanding, let us add the idea of an affix. Affixes aren't words or roots, but they are word particles that convey meaning. Maybe you've heard of prefixes and suffixes. If you have, these are both types of affixes. Prefixes attach at the front end of a word, whereas suffixes attach at the back end. An example of a suffix would be logi, meaning the study of or the science of. So we can make a bunch of words with logi, like biology. That's supposed to be a little amoeba. Cetology, the study or the science of whales. Anthropology, the study of human beings. Cosmology, the study of the universe. So if you see a logi, it's going to be some kind of science or specialized area of study. A A good example of a prefix would be the Greek para, which means alongside. So a paralegal is someone who works alongside lawyers. A paramedic works alongside doctors. And if your house is haunted, you don't need a normal pest control expert to get rid of the ghost. You need a paranormal pest control expert, one that is alongside, but not within, normalcy. And thus, you call the Ghostbusters. So what does all of this mean for you as a reader? Well, when I encounter a word I don't understand, it's like I had been walking down a hallway and was suddenly confronted with a locked door. It's frustrating. But the magic, the power of studying roots, prefixes, and suffixes is that when you master a small handful of them, you suddenly become the proud owner of a ring of keys.
Yes.
Doors fling themselves open for you. You can go anywhere. You can understand any concept, any piece of vocabulary. An army of locked doors fall off their hinges all at once when you approach. Don't believe me? I'll show you. While excavating the foundation for a geothermal plant, my companion Neha found a fossil. Upon closer inspection, she realized it was a pterodactyl. Wow, a lot of big words in that little paragraph. Now, watch this. Excavating. So, hollowing out. Foundation. Bottom making. Geothermal. Earth heat. Companion. So this is someone you would eat bread with. So bread together. Who do we eat bread together with? Our friends. Inspection. Looking in or closer. And pterodactyl. Pter means wing. Dactyl means finger. It is a prehistoric winged reptile. So, while she was digging in the ground to prepare the bottom of a plant that gets electricity from the heat of the earth, my friend Neha found a fossil. When she looked at it closely, she realized it was a flying reptile with fingery wings. Do you see what I mean about keys? Studying roots and affixes gives me the power to look at those words and crack them apart. You're not so big now, vocabulary word. You have no power over me. Studying roots, prefixes, and suffixes will give you that same power. I promise you it is awesome. Like literally, it fills me with a sense of awe. The power is yours for the taking. You can learn anything. David out.
All right, real quick. You guys have this document, I hope. I will send this again. This is 42 most common Greek roots and 42 most common Latin roots. So 84 parts of words there, or roots, that will help you out. So let's look real quick at, we are going to move up to language arts, 9th grade. You can see this, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Very good. Going to go to vocabulary, click down. So again, you can click, you hit grammar, goes all the way down. You hit vocabulary, goes to there. We looked at prefixes, suffixes. So if you haven't hit the 9th through 12th grade on that, please do that. In the Greek and Latin roots, same thing, okay? We're gonna do some sorting and then we're gonna determine, okay? Excuse me. You'll see the patterns here. And I have to log in. I hate that it logs me out during the day. Okay, so we are looking at words and trying to identify which one is having to do with a ball or a globe or an ear. Aural, spheroid, horoscope, auricular, spherical, and then oracle. What do you guys think?
So, and auroral, I'm thinking that's an ear.
Yeah, so everything starting with A, U, R, I is going to be ear. So that's aural, auricular, horoscope. And then sphere, spherical, spheroid is going to be your, we know that the globe is not a map, it's a sphere of the world. Let's see if we've got it. Good job. All right, moving on to the next one. Looking at one that means woman, and then the other one means above and beyond. Hypothermia, hyperbolic, hypersensitive, feminism, hyperbole, and then feminine.
Feminine and feminism, a woman.
Yeah, so that root is going to mean female, okay, or woman. And then the hyper always means like hypersensitive means you're beyond sensitive. Hyperbole is you explaining something, but you are like way, way outrageous with your explanation. Like, I've done that 2 million times. That's called hyperbole. Hyperbolic is the same. The act of doing that. And hypothermia is having your, what do you call it? Your hyperthermia is having.
Oh, it's like, yeah, too much
like
heat.
overheating. So that's like your, in the summers, we can do that. Let's do another one, and then we're gonna look at the sort of the definitions of it. All right, so we're looking at above, beyond, okay, and then step. Superlative, gradual, superior, graduate, natural, and then gradation.
So superior is above and beyond.
So anything starting with super, which means above and beyond. There you go, bingo, bango. And then the gradual is going to be your step. Like when you graduate, you're taking a step across the stage. Graduation, that is a big step, okay? All right, let's do another one. One means against, and then the other list is going to be outside. So anti-hero, extravagant, extrasensory, antibody, antidote, and then extracurricular.
Extravagant is
outside.
Oh, so antibody would be against something.
Yeah.
All the antis are against.
Antidote, yes.
All the antis are going to be against. Your anti-hero is not your hero. It's the villain. Okay. All right. So we got that. Let's go to, we're going back to determining the meanings of Greek and Latin roots. Notice this is just a little more difficult than the one we did the other day. All right. What does
some of these.
Conjunct mean? Pull apart, united, go away, and decline.
Why is it
Pull
called
apart.
Fall apart. Okay, let's see if it is. I think.
No.
The con means
yeah,
together.
joint, conjunct mean to join something.
Yeah, conjoined twins are united.
Yeah. So it's yeah.
Very good.
Sorry.
Right. This is a tough word. Diminutive. Is it unknown, fast, friendly, or little?
I would say, because meaning is small, so I want to say little.
Yeah, very good. So let's see if it's little. Terrific, very good.
Because I remember from the prefix and suffixes with minimal and stuff like that.
Accreditation. What does it mean, accreditation? A traditional procedure, a process, a formal declaration of war, and
that one.
Official recognition of quality, an impromptu speech or presentation.
Third one.
It's this one. Okay?
Yeah.
So you want your, another way to think of this is your accreditation. So our college here has a certain accreditation for the different tech programs that we provide. That's recognizing the quality and that you can basically get a job when you're done here. Wonderful. Let's do another one. Perjury. The act of telling a white lie. The tactic of deceit. The crime of lying under oath. Or the refusal to believe a person.
The third one. Crime of lying under oath.
When you commit perjury. Okay. Next one. Repulsive. Disappointing and angering others. Doubting someone's intentions or motives, expecting a reward for good or generous behavior, or causing others to move or stay away, repulsive.
The first one, disappointing or engaging. No, angering, yes, I think.
I guess that could be an outcome. Your better answer is causing those to others to move or stay away. So if you had a foul odor, you would have repulsed somebody, or if you said something in a nasty or offensive, you would have.
Okay.
We gotta click one. Mm-hmm. All right, so we got that. Now I'm gonna not share. Oops. End the share.
I think I'm going to try the on GED.com where you take the study test. I forgot what it's called.
I think within the first month, everybody should. That's a really good point, and kind of like a nice transition to what we'll look at next. Go on myged.com.
Yeah, I already signed up because I have a good feeling about it, and I've been doing some stuff on the IXL, which we're going over now, which I kind of done some of those in like, I think maybe 10th and 11 or 9 and something. So I'm thinking I'm going to try the myged.com and see how ready I am, and then probably take the test next month.
Well, that is really the goal, is to do that. So I want to show you guys. Let me log in real quick. We've got the time. This is my login. Can you see this?
No, I'm not seeing anything yet.
So we're logging in my GED. I have a login both as an administrator and as a student. So there's my student login. I hope it still works. Did. So this is going to go by the different types that you're going to do. I'm going to skip the question though. You have language arts.
Can't see anything. I'm sorry.
You can't see that
video. So if you don't mind being in the video, you're fine.
Okay, I'm fine.
I'm actually going to plug it right next.
Okay.
Right. So, okay, great start. I want to look at material like that. Maybe your GED class is in that already. So the practice material, okay? When you're practicing the GED Ready test right now, it's going to be $20 for the 4 subject.
Okay.
And which is a little bit cheaper than the other. So let's look at each one of them. We'll have an overview.
I can't see your screen. I don't know if you're sharing it or not.
It's black. I can see like the top part where it says GED.com, but everything else is pretty much black.
Yeah, everything is black.
Yes. All right, let me see if I can go back. I'm going to end sharing, and then I'm going to go to, can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so about the test, I want to go to the different test sections, test subjects. Here's a breakdown of each test.
You just want to film this area out here because it talks about the place where they gather. Trying to keep
an hour and.
Hey, leave that light on. You're gonna film out here.
I want to do the practice though. Where's the practice? The study, online practice tests.
I was doing the practice this morning and I got like an 8 out of 10. So
yeah, so there's some freebies on here. This is really big. I always think of this as like when you take the practice test, you're going to be like you're going through a traffic light. If you score in the red zone, 100 to 133, you got to stop. You got to really kind of crank it out before. If you're in the yellow zone, sometimes you decide to go and sometimes you will stop. And students want to score within this green zone. If you get in the green zone, it's really time to take that particular section, okay? And you can see how that works. It's going to give you more specific analysis of what's going on with that. So when you look at the different practice tests. Let me see if this is the page I'm trying to look at. It is not the page I'm trying to look at. The different study, I want to do test previews. I think so. So your different, there's your sample test. You may be able to use that for sure. Practice questions.
I'm just going to shut you. You're okay. I just don't want anyone else to come in.
All right. So moving on from that, that's always recommended. So I'm going to stop sharing real quick to the, and then I can do a blurb, or if you want to stay after and we'll talk about the practice test, we can. That's more important to the tape test, because I think the practice test is written by GED, and the same people that write the regular GED. It's going to be close. It's going to be, each one is half the length, so it's going to be the best practice.
Okay.
And it's going to be the same content. So you might even see some very, very similar items. Let me go to, we're going to go to News ELA real quick. Can you see this? Let me know if you can.
Yes, I can.
All right, cool. So I have 20 students, or 21 students now. So that means 7 people have not signed up for the News ELA. So that needs to happen. So if you don't know, stay later, or if you're looking at this at a different time, just give me a call or email me. But we looked at, and I want to look at this section called checks and balances. And I give you exactly what to do, passage or an article about checks and balances of the 3 branches of the government. And you're going to help me read this, but you guys are going to have a little bit of advantage because we're going to go over this content together, okay, which is going to be super helpful. So when you're thinking of the different, this is basically how the government is set up into 3 different branches, and that each one has checks and balances of each other. You see this image here. They're weighed out there. That's a good image. This is actually my breakdown of the information, okay? And then all my annotations throughout. So you may think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but what I wanted to prove here is that this is how much information, and this is something I need to do while I'm reading, so I can extract enough information to do well on the activities, as well as to create a decent conclusion. So let's go through this information. If you don't mind. I'll start off and then we can kind of move from there. So we're looking at the founding fathers, the framers of the Constitution. I instantly start thinking, who were those people? And I put down Thomas Jefferson, Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, and Washington, just to name a few, because I want to think while I'm reading. So who are the founding fathers? Who were the framers of the Constitution? They wanted to form a government that did not allow one person to have too much control. With this in mind, the framers wrote the Constitution to provide for a separation of powers, or 3 separate branches of government, okay, rather than one king or something like that. Each has its own responsibilities, okay? So that's important, as well as has the same time. They work together to make the country run smoothly, to assure that the citizens of the rights of the citizens are not ignored or disallowed. This is done through checks and balances. A branch may use its powers to check the powers of the other in order to maintain a balance of powers among the 3 branches. So the big idea there is that basically, you have 3 branches. They all have certain powers. Each one, in a certain way, is going to check the other one. So no single power, whether it be, and here's the 3 of them, whether it's legislative, executive, or judicial, no single one gets out of hand, okay? So the Constitution of the United States divides the federal government into 3 branches to ensure a central government in which no individual or group gains too much control. And we have the 3 different ones here. Legislative, they make the laws. Executive, they carry out the laws. And I forgot to read here. Legislative is the Congress, which has two branches, and we'll talk about that. Executive is carrying out the laws. That's the president, vice president, cabinet. Then we have the judicial, which they evaluate the laws and interpret the laws, and that would be the Supreme Court and other lower courts, okay? Each branch of government can change acts of the other branches as follows. So I gave a little annotation here of the legislative, Congress, executive, president, judicial is the Supreme Court. I want to think while I'm reading, so I wrote that stuff down. And then here are some of the different interactions. So the president can veto laws that are passed by the Congress. Okay, so they make a law and the president can say yay or nay. The Congress confirms or rejects the president's appointments, okay, to the different parts of the executive or different, whoever's in charge, and they can remove a president, impeach a president from office in exceptional circumstances. And then the judicial, the justices of the Supreme Court who can overturn unconstitutional laws are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate, okay? I want to look at this so we can get a visual, okay? Can you guys see that?
Yes.
So we have just, again, this is a very elementary version of what the legislative, executive, and judicial does, but you can get a visual of that's a literal, that's the Capitol building, which has Congress, which is made up of two houses, the Senate. You get 2 senators per state, so it's exactly even. So if you have a state like Delaware, which really doesn't have a large population, you still get 2. Guess how many are in Florida? 2. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're Florida, California, Texas, the 3 largest in regards to population. You are still going to have the same amount of senators as Delaware or a place like Alaska would not allow a population. The House of Representatives, however, has the amount of representatives based on the state's population. Okay, so Delaware is going to have, I think, 2, and we have upwards of 30, almost 40 in Florida. Okay, so the House of Representatives is purely based on the state's population. So in Congress, there are 535 elected officials. I'm just simply adding the 435 in the House of Reps and the 100 senators, okay? So 535 individuals, men and women from all the states and the District of Columbia. The executive is the president, vice president, cabinets, and there are many, many, many kind of sections of the executive branch that we can go over as well, like the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, okay, things like that. And then we have the judicial, because this is the White House. This is the judicial, I have trouble saying judicial tonight. The Supreme Court, this is literally the Supreme Court building, okay? There are 9 justices, and you have to have 9 because there needs to be an odd number, so you would never have an even vote yes, yeas, or nays. President appoints these, and the Senate has to approve, and then there's other federal courts, okay? One unique thing about the Supreme Court is it's the only job that I can think of on the face of the planet is when you get elected or president nominates you and then you become the Supreme Court justice, you have that job until you die, or unless you commit a crime or you go insane, you have that job till you die. So that's why we'll get a visual on that in a little movie, a little video we'll watch. These, all the justices, some of them are 150 years old, okay? Which is crazy, but I'm being hyperbolic. Somebody want to read this section, the legislative portion, as we go?
The legislative branch enacts legislations, confirms or rejects presidential appointments, and has the authority to declare war. The branch includes Congress, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and several agencies that provide support services to Congress. American citizens have the right to vote for senators and representatives through free, confidential ballots. Senate. There are 2 elected senators per state.
Boom, 100. Sorry.
Yeah. Totaling 100 senators. A senator a Senate term is 6 years, and there's no limit.
No limits. It's crazy.
To the right? To the number of terms an individual can serve. The House of Representatives, there are 435 elective representatives, which are divided among the 50 states in proportion to their total population. There are additional non-voting delegates who represents the District of Columbia and the territories,
And some of the examples of the territories are Puerto Rico, Guam, things like that, okay?
Yeah.
A representative, what?
A representative serves a 2-year term, and there's no limit to the number of terms an individual can serve. In order to pass legislation and send it to the president for his signature, both the House and the Senate must pass the same bill by majority vote.
Very, very good. Now, I highlighted no limits on both of these. This is why you'll see, for instance, Joe Biden, and I'm not going to get political or whether you like him or not. Joe Biden was in Congress when my father was in middle school, and then still in Congress when my father retired from a position at Pasco County Schools 35 years into it. So he was in a congressman for close to 50 years. Okay.
Wow, that's a long time.
And then also became a vice president. So the no limit of the terms really holds true, and it's something that they've talked about changing per se. This is another really good visual of the interactions between, and there's a section on IXL.com that has this image talking about this is a visual of the checks and balances, okay? Somebody want to read executive? No one? Anyone?
The executive branch carries out and enforces laws. It includes the president, vice president, the cabinet, executive departments, independent agencies, and other boards, commissions, and committees. American citizens have the right to vote for the president and vice president through free confidential ballots. Key roles of the executive branch include president. The president leads the country. He or she is the head of the state, leader of the federal government, and commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces. The president serves a 4-year term and can be elected no more times.
All right, so where are we at?
Sign legislation into law, or right at the top.
Okay. Into law or veto.
Acted in Congress. Although Congress may override a veto.
I'm so happy not to have my help.
I'm going to pick that up. Although Congress may override a veto with a 2/3 vote of both houses, the executive branch conducts diplomacy with other nations, and that's just being friends and negotiating different things with other nations. And the president has the power to negotiate and sign treaties, which are official agreements, which also must be ratified by 2/3 of a Senate. The president can issue executive orders, which direct executive officers or clarify and further existing laws. The president also has an unlimited power to extend pardons and clemency for federal crimes, except in the case of impeachment. With these powers come several responsibilities, among them a constitutional requirement from time to time to give the give the Congress information of the State of the Union, that's a State of the Union address, and recommend to the consideration such measures as he or she shall judge necessary and expedient. Although the president may fulfill this requirement in any way he or she chooses, presidents have traditionally given State of the Union addresses addressed to a joint session each January, except for inaugural years, outlining their agenda for the coming year. The vice president supports the president. If the president is unable to serve, the vice president becomes the president. He, she can serve an unlimited number of 4-year terms. The vice president also serves as the president of the United States Senate, okay, head of the Senate, where he or she casts a deciding vote in a case of a tie. The cabinet members serve as advisors to the president. They include the vice president, heads of executive departments. Cabinet members are nominated by the president, but must be approved by the Senate with a 51 votes, so a majority rule because there's 100 there. Somebody want to read the judicial section? It's short. It's short.
The judicial branch interprets the meaning of laws, applies laws to individual cases, and decides if laws violates the Constitution. The judicial branch is made up of the Supreme Court and other federal courts. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States. The justices of the Supreme Court are nominated by the president and must be approved by the Senate, with at least 51 votes. Congress decides the number of justices. Currently, there are 9. There is no fixed term for justices. They serve until their death, retirement, or removal in exceptional circumstances. Other federal courts, the Constitution grants Congress the authority to establish other federal courts.
Yeah, so that's the most interesting section, I think, is that literally you have that job until you die, retire, or there's some funky circumstances. And we've had them die recently because there's been some news.
I didn't know that. I thought they would have to be re-elected each time we have like an election or something.
That's why it's one of the most unique jobs on the planet. You get it till you die. You guys can see this or no?
Yes, I can.
I am going to send you, looks like 5 videos on the checks and balances. You don't have to watch them all. Actually, we have time. Let's watch a short one. And then I'll show you guys the rest. Or I'll send them to you on my email tonight.
Checks and balances. After breaking from a British government that lorded over the colonists, the framers of the Constitution wanted to make sure that their government did not get too powerful. In order to do this, they established 3 separate branches of government that would each have its own specific powers. The 3 branches of government are the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. The legislative branch, or Congress, is comprised of the House of Representatives and the Senate. This branch has the power to make laws, the power to tax and spend, the power to approve treaties, and the power to declare war. The executive branch consists of the president, the executive and cabinet departments, and the independent governing agencies, like the IRS. The president is the head of the executive branch. He has the power to carry out the laws passed by Congress, recommend new legislation, set foreign policies, and nominate Supreme Court justices. The judicial branch is comprised of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeals, and the District Court. The Supreme Court is the highest court in the judicial branch. This branch has the power to interpret all laws and decide cases involving state rights. In order to ensure that no one branch becomes more powerful than the other, a system of checks and balances was incorporated into the Constitution. In other words, each branch of government would be able to check the powers of the other. Take, for example, the process of passing a law. A bill must be passed through both houses of Congress before it goes to the president for approval. The president can either sign the bill or veto the bill. Even if the bill is vetoed, Congress may overturn the veto with a 2/3 majority vote. The Supreme Court has the final say because it can decide if a law is constitutional or unconstitutional. In the framework of the Constitution, there are many powers issued to each branch of government. In order to keep these powers from growing too strong and allowing one branch to overpower the others, there are many other ways that one branch can check the power of another. Consider the following examples. The president has the power to order troops to fight, but only Congress can formally declare war. So, without Congress's support, the president cannot maintain a war, even though the president is the commander-in-chief of the military. The president makes judicial appointments, but these must be confirmed by the Senate before they can be made judges. The president can issue an executive order, but the judicial branch can find it unconstitutional and overturn the order. Supreme Court justices are appointed for life, but they can be impeached by Congress or removed from office. The court system can imprison a citizen. However, the president can pardon the individual and set the individual free. This system of checks and balances gives each branch of government a voice in the country's affairs. If one branch ever tries to overstep its boundaries, there is always a check in place for one of the other two branches to pull the one branch back into a balance of power.
All right. I mean, that was quick and easy, but you got a good visual on it. So, all right. We have 9 minutes before you need to get into math. So, questions, comments? If we don't have anything,
Nope.
you can stay after if you want to talk to me. If not, we will see each other Thursday, and I will email you a whole bunch of attachments with a whole bunch of videos having to do with this, and then you can access that on iExcel as well as New ZLA, okay? All right, my friends?
Okay, bye.
All righty, have a good one.
Peace out, Girl Scout.
I'll see you later, Mr. Marshall.
Yep.
See you,
You
buddy.
wanted me to stay after, right?
Yes, if you had any questions, or I can go over a couple of different things if you want. Hello?
Okay, I don't have any questions right this second, but I probably will as soon as I get off here.
Yeah, let me share something, just the screen with you real quick, and let me stop recording.